1938, Seabiscuit made headlines almost every day as breathless sports writers broke the news that the Howard Bay would at last meet his arch-rival, War Admiral, in a full-field race at Boston's Suffolk Downs. All over the country, magazines and newspapers featured side-by-side photographs of the celebrity horses, offering endless comparisons of their relative size and speed and merit. Sports writers furiously polled fans for their predictions and composed lengthy editorials on the likely outcome of the race. I am one of the narrow-minded group which has seen War Admiral run too often, one columnist wrote, to concede Seabiscuit a chance for anything better than a seat in Congress this year.
People looking at War Admiral saw a magnificent horse. Good-looking, he came from an illustrious background, he came from an aristocratic barn. Seabiscuit doesn't have that long, elegant, aristocratic, wide-eyed look of eagles. He looked like he ought to be drawing a cart with ice behind it someplace.
Seabiscuit's fans hailed him as a plain working man, a proletarian, a modern Horatio Alger. He'll take that fancy little War Admiral, one predicted, and curl him into a pretzel. 6 days before the race, a fully recovered Pollard did an old friend a favor and agreed to work his green 2-year-old colt. Halfway around the oval, the horse spooked, crashed through the rail, and tore off in the direction of the barns. As he tried to cut between two sheds, he skidded sideways, smashed into a corner, then crumpled in a heap. At the far end of the shed row, they heard the screams. Pollard's right leg had been nearly severed just below the knee.
The pain was excruciating. He had such a lot of bad luck with regard to spills. And my father would get so enraged if anyone ever said, that he fell off a horse, and he would say, "I don't fall off horses, I was thrown."
I don't know how he held himself together, especially when he tore his leg open, when the bones were fractured, and I don't know how he stood it.
All through that summer, Pollard lay in bed in a Boston hospital, reading Emerson while surgeons fretted over his leg. They twice rebroke and reset it, but the splintered bones would not heal. His body shriveled to a scant 86 pounds. The doctors told Pollard he would never ride again.
I think he was immensely, deeply disappointed, like one of the great disappointments in his life. But I think he had a perspective on all that through, the philosophies of the writers that he read. And he would always say, this comes from Shakespeare, "Sweet are the uses of adversity."
As summer turned to fall, adversity's uses took shape in the person of Agnes Conlon, Pollard's private duty nurse. The daughter of a well-to-do Boston antique dealer, she was educated, refined, reserved, Red's opposite in almost every way. She was also already spoken for. Pollard was smitten enough not to care. One afternoon, he looked up from his poetry and asked Nurse Conlon to marry him. To the horror of her status-conscious family, Agnes said yes.
Her parents looked askance at her going to marry my father, as if he were out of the circus or something strange like that. And a long time later, I learned from an aunt, she said, none of us wanted her to marry him. We just didn't think that he was worthy of her.